And welcome back to another episode of the Cincy Sports Scene. This is episode number 129. I am Dave, here along with Sam and Charlie. And today's show is absolutely packed. You want to stick around to the very end for an announcement as well. But before that happens, we are diving into the Bengals 2025 NFL Draft Class, breaking down the picks, welcoming to the greater Cincinnati area, debating the biggest needs that still remain, and asking the big question, did the Bengals really get better? Plus, we'll hit the Reds' latest ups and downs, highlight some roster battles, and bring you our pitcher, hitter, and the player we want to designate for assignment of the week. And for today's big finish, we're drafting our ultimate lineup of the most average Reds player ever. That means no all-stars allowed. So let's jump right on into the week that was. And it's a big week It was the NFL draft week. I started Thursday night and ran all the way to Sunday. The biggest takeaway of the draft probably had to be the Browns passing on Sanders in the first, second, third, fourth, finally selected them in the fifth round after they selected Dylan Gabriel in the third round. So that was probably the biggest takeaway overall, but we don't care about the team up north.
Well, at least we're not them. That's
right,
all I'll
exactly.
say about our draft.
Yes. But first of all, thoughts overall of day one picks, then day two picks. And then just let's talk about, we can talk about each one individually or, collectively. What do you think they're going to bring to Cincinnati? What do you hope they can bring here for the Bengals? It's only 18 Sundays and NFL kicks off. So it's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, Thursday night, first round pick. And I don't know, it just gave me Miles Murphy flashbacks, drafting on the measurables and not the production. 4.5 sacks in your entire career. I mean, that's not great numbers. I mean, you read more about the guy afterwards and you realize, okay, Texas A&M wanted him to be a run first defender. It's like, okay, that's cool and all, but we still need a pass rusher. So I don't know. Asking someone whose primary job was never to be a pass rusher, now to be a pass rusher in the NFL. I mean, he's got the athletic measurables to make it happen if somebody's going to. It will be him, but I just don't know that. I just don't know. I would have loved to have seen them take somebody with more production who is going to be able to make an impact week one. I just don't know that's going to happen.
Yeah, I felt a lot of the same way with Jamar Stewart. We haven't seen him play an NFL game yet, so I'm going to, pass judgment, wait to pass judgment until he actually plays. He does, he definitely has a trait breakdown like Miles Murphy. I guess even a better athlete than Miles Murphy based on just like the stats, the measurements and stuff. Supposed to be like a lead of the elite when it comes to a defensive player at that size. There's a new defensive line coach this year as well as a defensive coordinator. We're relying on them to be able to develop these players better, and we need them to develop Miles Murphy better as well. So that's going to be, we're putting a lot of faith in Al Golden and his hires. And if that comes through, then great. If it doesn't, then we're going to be in trouble. I think a lot of the drafts looking some of the local analysis, a lot of this draft was for leadership, was for, picking guys who were 0 question marks about their character and 0 question marks about their, considered leaders in the locker room kind of stuff. And I think the Burton pick last year really threw them off there. They got burned so bad by him. They kind of went back to what I feel like they had done more, at the beginning of the Zach Taylor tenure, which was pick captains and that kind of player. So it seems like they lean on that because a lot of these guys were drafted based on the analyst draft placements. They drafted them almost around early compared to where they were slotted to go.
Yeah. So my concern, I don't even want to call it a concern, but, two things. One, as far as the pass rushing, getting sacks goes, yes, we want somebody to come in and be able to get sacks alongside Trey, or when Trey decides to leave after next year, take over that production. And I know he wasn't used that way at Texas A&M, but we can get disruption as well to let the quarterbacks, throw a little quicker and not hold the ball. And it's going to help our defense if we can get that pressure on the quarterback as well, because that's what we were lacking outside of Trey last year. Yeah, he got the sacks, but he also got the pressure, but nobody else really was getting in the quarterback, making the quarterback uncomfortable, move around, move off his spot, those type of things. So that's number one. Number two is, when you draft a number one pick, at least I would hope, maybe not the Eagles or the Chiefs so much because of the Super Bowl, but you would want your number one pick to be a day one starter. And I don't know if he's going to be a day one starter. Now, we have never seen him play in the NFL. He has training camp, battles, Osai, and, we'll see what happens. But thoughts on he needing to be a day one pick in order for it to be viewed better than a C average, I guess, because that's what most pundits are putting it at, or thoughts on being able to disrupt the passer as well?
I mean, I think he needs to make an instant impact, especially if other positions we could have drafted there don't. So, say, and you probably weren't going to take a guard in the first round, but, safety or linebacker, somebody else. There's guys that were still on the board that you could have taken making an impact at a spot where you need somebody to make an impact. It looks a little worse if Stewart's not a day one instant contributor. He's not a part of the pass rush rotation. If he's only in on first down on rundowns, I mean, he's going to have to be the best run defensive end in the league if that's what their plan is for him. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on it. I'm not excited. I'm not bummed out over it either, because it is a position we need, and physical traits are great, and more often than not, and maybe not more often than not, but more often than average, guys with those physical traits do turn out to be pretty solid players. I can live with a failure of taking a superb athlete and they just don't work out, then reaching for somebody who doesn't have the measurables but maybe the production, who then also doesn't work out. So I think I'd rather have the athlete first.
Well, the issue for the Bengals is they should be in win mode now. Win now mode.
Yeah.
And sometimes I draft in a guy who or have to develop. That's not necessarily win now. And that's my biggest issue with it, is the Bengals should be trying to win the Super Bowl this year. And so a guy that's going to take 3 years to develop, well, that's not helping him. I mean, Myles Murphy still hasn't developed in terms of pass rushing. Osai's been here 4 or 5 years, and he's still struggling. So that's my concern. They also don't have any defensive tackles who can rush the quarterback. That's none of their specialties, not any of the main four. So it'd be different if you had a guy, a Chris Jones-ish player in the middle, a Geno Atkins player in the middle, who could rush the quarterback, put pressure on the quarterback from the inside. You don't have that either. So, can we rely on Trey again and still be an average defense? Or hoping, the average meaning a good one for the Bengals. So I guess I think that's where the whiff happens. Is unless Stewart can produce from day at least 30 on, then I think that's the problem. Is you're not getting, you're not getting pressure from your defensive linemen or tackles. They didn't draft any defensive tackles. They didn't free agent. The only free agent they got was the Slayton. And he's a run stopper. He don't even be on the field on third down. So, I think a lot of it for me, it comes from the free agency mess up, not really the draft. It's free agency put them so far behind the eight ball because they didn't fill any holes. They had to draft a guard. They had to draft 2 of them. They had to draft a linebacker. They drafted 2 of them. If they would have picked up a good linebacker, a starting linebacker, or picked up a good, DN, they wouldn't have had to, with only 6 picks especially, they wouldn't have had to, double up on these positions. I feel like their draft was almost 100% on need. It wasn't on best available player.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think that's I think you're in a losing mentality, losing situation when you're drafting on need, especially in the first round, second round. The Bengals rarely draft a linebacker that high. They drafted 2 in the first 4. They don't do that because they don't value that position as much, but they literally had nobody. And Logan Wilson coming off of a year, half a season injury. So again, I think this is again just a, if this doesn't work out, it goes back to the same things we say every year about the front office.
Yes. With moving on to day 2, we draft the linebacker, which, I sent out in the group chat, why. One, I think that was a stretch. Most people had him graded as a round 3, round 4 type pick. Bengals really liked his character. This franchise doesn't want to pay second contracts to defensive people or anybody over 30 years old. And this guy's going to be 29 when his rookie contract is up. To me, I think that, I don't know, there's other linebackers there that could have been had, but I wish we would have flipped the guard / linebacker position. I think if we go guard, we get Ratledge instead of, Freeland, I think, or is that
Fairchild.
Or Fairchild, I'm sorry.
Fairchild. Stu's brother.
Yeah. So, if once, I just think that if Burrow in the offense, if that's, because obviously they care more about, I shouldn't say they care more about the offense, but
they do.
But that's where the money's at, right? So you've got to protect that. You got to be able to. Now, they say Fairchild is one heck of a pass blocker. Maybe Ratledge wasn't the better pass blocker of the two. I don't know. That's what they needed. We weren't in the room when they were making.
Part of the issue is we just don't have trust in the scouting department because they've proven time and time again, especially on the offensive line, how badly they mess it up. It'd be one thing if, they had a great hit rate on these guys. And it'd be like, okay, you know what? We think it's a stretch, but they're really good at what they do. We're going to trust them.
Yep.
They're not when it comes to the offensive line. They are not good at it.
Well, hopefully the new offensive line coach, will change that narrative. I hope that we're seeing better play.
Yeah,
but until then, it's out. I don't know. I don't think let's go on to, I guess the surprise was after the draft. Probably that, their best pickup was the center from Ohio State, McLaughlin, who, was at Alabama and then he transferred to Ohio State. And, he definitely would have been drafted if it wasn't for his Achilles injury. That could be the diamond in the rough right there of the unrestricted free agents that they signed. Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember watching him at Bama though, Dad. He's not a center. You cannot have him snapping the ball in a shotgun to Joe Burrow. That ball, you don't know where it's going.
Well,
he's also not going to help this year.
No.
I don't. Again, we're getting into Reds territory here. I don't care about 2027. Right. I really don't. I care about 2025 and the 26. So if the best pick they got was a guy who's going to help them 2 years from now, that's not good. That's a bad sign. If the best pick we did in this draft helps us in 2027, that's a bad sign for this draft. That's an F draft.
That is a bad sign. You are right. All right, so let's go ahead and give our grades for the Bengals. Overall, what do you think?
Overall, I'll go C, just because we're just gonna have to see. They didn't really draft anybody with great production whose numbers just jumped off the charts. It was a lot of measurable stuff, a lot of character stuff. So it's C to me is a wait and see, and we'll grade it this time next year. Grade it after the season.
Yeah, I'll say C+. I think it's, until you see things play out, but I think it's not a great draft from the very beginning when all you're doing is drafting for need. And you can't just draft who knows how many times, in the first, when their slot came up, maybe the best available by far was a cornerback. They didn't draft him because they had to get a guard, and they had to get a linebacker, and they had to get a DN. So, I think they're, again, free agency to me was a D at best, maybe D minus. And the draft is a C plus, but I think the draft reflects free agency.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I would probably go right there in that C plus C range. Wait and see. It's what the draft is, right? It's about hope that they pan out and you hit on 2-3 of your draft picks, and they can have productive careers, for Cincinnati. But I don't know. It's the thing that I guess I don't want to say worries me or scares me. I think we left, like you said, I think we left some really good players on the board that our rivals took. and I think they're going to have a field day against us. I hate that nightmare scenario where Jack Sawyer's coming around, on opposite TJ Watt, and he's just having a field day against our tackles, right? Whoever.
Mike Green for the Ravens.
Mike Green for the Ravens, right?
I mean, in reality, the Ravens had the Bengals draft. They drafted Malachi Starks as the safety. I mean, the Ravens are going to have the best safety duo in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now they have Mike Green, who's just a pure pass rusher. So,
right.
And
both of them,
even if Shamar Stewart plays fine for a rookie, he's always going to be compared sack numbers to Mike Green. Now that they're drafted the same division, and Jack Sawyer. So yeah, we'll see.
Yep. All right. Any other thoughts? What holes do we need to fill, and did we do enough to improve?
Everything but quarterback.
And wide receiver, maybe?
I don't know. Who's your third receiver? Mike Gesicki, who's not a receiver.
Chuck Sizzle.
He's terrible. He probably won't even make the team.
Oh, he'll be back there.
Yeah, Irwin's probably floating out right now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Replace Burton,
Yeah, Burton. Gosh, yeah. All right, let's move on from the Bengals to the Reds. They this week was a up and down week. They go into Miami with coming off 4 victories in a row, and then they go and lose the first 2 games, salvaged a game in game 3, and then they go into Colorado and they just took care of business against the Rockies and swept the Rockies 3-0, which now brings them to 15-13, 2 games over 500, and they're 2 games back of the Cubs, and they are in second place. So, thoughts on the Marlins series and the Rocky series, and where we're at now in the standings, and thoughts on that.
And my first initial thought is it's great the season's not over in April. So I mean we're right there. I kind of figured this would be kind of the spot we were in, a little bit better than 500. I mean, we still got 3 games here to play in April, so that could change. Knowing the Reds, it probably will. Probably end April under 500. But as of right now, I think 15-13 could be better, but we've seen it a lot of times be worse. I think once the weather warms up, fans start showing up to the ballpark, I think it's going to be a good summer for.
Yeah, I mean, the positive sign they've hit much better the last couple of weeks. Obviously hit against the Rockies, but I don't know if that generalizes to any other series, because the Rockies are awful. I mean, based on what I saw, could the AAA champion beat the Rockies? I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, they're bad. So they're not doing what they did against the Rockies against any other team. So, but even the Marlins, even the Orioles, they hit better. So their offensive stats over this past 10 days have really shot up in terms of, what all their averages and runs scored and all those kind of things. So I take that as a positive. I'm not going to, that just because, yes, it's against the Rockies, but overall, most years they've been worse than 15-13 at the 28 game mark. Usually they're at the end of the first month, they were almost always under 500 against David Bell. Maybe 2 years ago, maybe they weren't, when they had but the rookies they weren't up yet at this point. So like
last year was the first, I think, season that.
Oh, they were over 500 last year.
Over 500.
Oh God,
I think it was their first season over 500. It was the best. Well, it was the best record in April for David Bell.
Yeah,
last year's.
So I'll take it. I'm overall positive. Where the Reds are right now. I think they're in it. They've put themselves. They're not coming back from 10-18 or whatever. 2 games behind the Cubs. I think the Cubs are the best team in the division. I think the Reds are it's gonna be tough to catch them. I think the Cubs just did a lot more with their offseason than the Reds. But if you really look at the Reds additions, the main additions they made, most of them are playing pretty well right now.
Yeah, I'll have to concur with that. We always, especially on podcast or, just the sports talk in general, we think every game is life or death, and it's, World Series Game 7. And especially in baseball, it's a long, long season, and we can't ride that roller coaster of highs and then lows when we have a bad couple of games, because you're going to have a bad stretch in baseball. It happens, and so you can't get too high, can't get too low. The old cliche. But what I liked is how they responded on the getaway game in Miami, and then coming out and taking care of business in Colorado. They got another 4-game winning streak. Tess comes back into Great American Ballpark, where the Cardinals come into town. They're not great, but they're the Cardinals. They're a rival. Can we take care of business against them? Can we take 2 or 3 against the Cardinals? I'm hoping we can, because certain bats are starting to wake up. Others are still in slumber, and they need to get going here in a little bit. And that brings me to my next point. Is McLain suffering from the sophomore slump, or is it something else wrong with him?
I would think
granted,
some sophomore slump. He didn't play at all last year, so that's going to throw you off big time.
Or the year. Remember, he also missed the 2 months prior. The year before that, he hasn't played in almost 2 years. Right. Major League Baseball.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's going to take more than 3-4 weeks to get your timing down and to really feel comfortable, especially if he doesn't think he's 100% too. Which I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that front. I don't know, but he could be 100% and just not trust it yet too. He had injuries his rookie year. Had the season ender last year. He just might not trust himself yet to fully, be there. So, maybe once it warms up, he'll start trusting it a little bit more. But he's someone we need to get going, because he's going to be, if we're going to do anything, he's going to be a key piece to it.
Yeah, I agree. He's key. Other guys are heating up, but he's not. It's really. Even Steer's been hitting this past few days. And looking, ever since he's now been playing out in the field, it seems like he's a little bit more energized. And, but, I guess, you got McLain, and I have more faith in him turning around than Candelario.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
He's 5 for his last 60, I think I heard. Something like that.
7 for 78, I think, since.
Awful. He's hitting $113 on the season.
He is a guaranteed out right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to bother him that he's this bad.
He's making $15 million. It wouldn't bother me either.
31 guaranteed, I think it is, because it's this year, next year, and then the
back. Yeah, next year is, yeah.
So if we want to say goodbye to him, which I think coming up in a little bit, we may all 3 agree to say goodbye to him, but it's going to cost $31 million to say goodbye.
It ain't going to happen.
And that's not going to happen yet.
But
he doesn't play.
Yeah.
He played today, but he's not playing. And speaking of playing time, Austin Wynns, right? Ty Stevenson hit a ball today that was 116 miles an hour, 300, almost 400 foot, granted AAA, but he turned on it on inside pitch, took it over the left field fence. Good sign for him. He's probably going to be coming back probably after the St. Louis series. So the question is, I mean, do we keep 3 catchers for a little bit?
I'm already answering no.
No.
We did that already.
We did that, yes.
And that was a tragic David Bell failure.
Yes, that was a David Bell failure, or a Nick Kroll failure, or whoever said we're keeping 3. I mean,
hey, you got a reliable third catcher. He goes to Louisville and plays in Louisville, and they need him again. You bring him up.
Yep. I mean that. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that's not your biggest question mark. So I think it's a good problem to have. It's one of those.
I mean, he's 30.
He's
34 years old. He's a career .230.
That's smoking the ball there.
That's better than Candelario.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I'm just saying, like, that's not this,
No. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, Luke Maley 2 years ago was decent with the bat.
Straight. Right.
And now he's not even on a. He's playing for Omaha. Right. So I mean, yeah. I don't think that's even a concern right now. I wouldn't. That's about number 25 on their list. Should be.
All right. So with that happening, let's go into our pitcher, hitter of the week, and the player that we would like the Reds to DFA.
What do we start with? Hitter, pitcher?
Let's go with hitter. Let's go with hitter.
Hitter.
And I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to say Marte. I think he has been just, he was hitting really well in that finale against Baltimore where everybody was hitting well.
Yeah, everybody did.
But then it carried over to the Miami series, and it's carrying over to the Rocky series. And, if he continues to do that, he's our third baseman. So, and if McLain and Lux and Espinal are the rotating guys,
Fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It should be fun. You're right. It extends our, put Ty Stevenson in there. It extends that lineup a little bit more. So I'm going with Novelli. Congratulations.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's been for sure the surprise of the season so far. Good on the positive side. And I mean, you notice he's been playing every day. Francona's not messing around. He's not playing. Bell would have given today off. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like Marte. We'll give a shout out to Austin Hayes since he's come off the IL. I heard on the radio, 11 of his 12 starts he's got a hit in or something like that, or maybe it's 11 of 12 games he's played, something like that. So I mean, he's got pretty much a hit every game. So I mean, he's looked good. He's made we didn't get the outfield bat we were looking for. Be okay for now.
Mm-hmm.
So they got the bargain deal. It seems to, fingers crossed, it's doing all right for now. So,
okay, pitcher of the week.
I'm going Lodolo. 2 starts, both of them. Well, today obviously was really, really good. 9 strikeouts, but even his other one was okay. I think it was a 5 innings, 3 runs, something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'll go Lodolo. 2 good starts for the week.
Yeah, I had Lodolo as well.
Yeah, I like Lodolo, but I'm gonna go Pagan just because comes in a couple of times, 3 saves this week, and saved opportunities. I don't want to say he's the closer.
He's the hot guy right now,
right?
I mean, that's
till someone till he fails,
right? And he's out there, and I think the more he's out there, the more comfortable he's going to be, and I think it'll be all right for the Reds. So yeah. Now the big question: who are we designating for assignment? Who do we want to get out of here?
I think that's real tough.
I mean, there's realistic, and then there's get him out of here. But right, we had that discussion last week as well. But it's probably going to be on just auto play, Candelario,
yep.
Candelario, right?
Yep.
For me, until
Candelario with an eye on Diaz.
Yeah, that's good.
Looking over there,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's even a debate on this one right now, with as bad as Candelario is. But yeah, you're right. It's not realistic. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. No, you're not DFAing him and writing a check for $31 million.
No, you're not.
No way the Castellinis are doing that.
Oh, so I guess now we don't want to look down the road because I think you made this comment last week, Crawley, about CES. If he's ready to come back, you keep him in AAA, right? I mean, especially if Spencer is playing first. So, because if you're not going to DFA Candelario, then
unless you do a phantom IL for Candelario, help his hamstring. Just put him on the 10-day for a couple, stints.
Hamstring,
see if CES can figure it out.
That toe isn't healed.
Yeah,
and he got injured last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff you can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what. All right. So up next for the Redlegs, St. Louis and Washington homestand. So get on down to the ballpark, go support the Reds, and hopefully they can, win 2 series for them. Any thoughts before we move on?
Yep. All sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. So last week, we're going to our trivia time, and do want to give a shout out to a couple of listeners. Actually made some suggestions for our trivia because they want to hear the answers. They don't want to just wait until next week to come out. They want to see us struggle with guessing. So for like the shorts that I put out there, I just put the question and not any of the answers. So I might take their advice and edit some of the answers in so that way our fans can listen to those as well instead of just waiting until next week. So thanks for those suggestions. I appreciate it. Keep them coming. If you want to talk about a topic, you can send it to us at on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene. Follow us on YouTube and all your podcasting platforms. And you can send us an email at csspodcast@gmail.com. So last week I had the trivia question and I said, since 2000, there have been NFL draft. There had been 7 non-quarterbacks selected number 1 overall. How many can you name? Carly got a few. So he got the first 3. He got Walker, Garrett, and Clowney. And then Eric Fisher, Jake Long, Mario Williams, and Courtney Brown were the others. So there you have it. And I do believe Crawley or Sam has this week's question.
Got this week's. So it's some draft trivia as well. But we're going to mix NFL with the NBA.
Oh, NBA.
Let's see here. I got to make.
We cover the NBA?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 9 schools that have had a number 1 pick in both the NFL and NBA since each league's respective merger. So for the NFL, 66, NBA, 76. There are 9 schools that have had a number 1 pick in both sports.
Number 1 overall?
Overall.
Like the
number
very
1
first
overall.
Pick?
Very first pick, 1-1.
Would that be UCLA?
UCLA did not make it because their NBA was pre-merger. All their number 1 picks were pre-merger.
That's right.
Georgia.
Okay. Yep, you're right.
Georgia is 1. Yep.
North Carolina? No.
I will tell you they are all power schools, so you don't have to worry about
USC?
Nope.
I wouldn't say basketball, but
Texas.
I think
Because they wouldn't have had a football guy, so I'm trying to think as a
Klingler.
He wasn't the number 1 overall. Oh, Ohio State probably.
Ohio State, yes.
Who was their number 1 basketball player?
The big center guy
Greg
that
Oden.
didn't
Greg Oden. That's right.
Yep.
Injured out of the league in 2
These
weeks.
offense, you get them here.
Kentucky.
Yep. Kentucky, correct.
With Tim Couch.
Well, let's see. See my pick here.
Michigan.
Who was there?
You got 4.
Okay.
Chris Webber was basketball, and the lineman was football. One of them.
Jake Long.
What's his name?
Jake
Long.
Yeah,
yep.
Jake Long, yeah.
Yep.
So, let's see.
Yep, you got 5 left. 2 Big 10, 2 SEC, and 1 Big 12.
Oklahoma?
Yep.
Is that Stacey King or Wayman Tisdale? Or
Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin.
Oh, I forgot
Yep.
about Blake. Yeah.
Current Big 12, like as it's structured now.
Current Big 12, yes. Current Big 12, yep.
Who'd you say? You said one Big 12?
One Big 12, yep. So you just got Oklahoma, so that's SEC. So you got one more SEC, two Big 10, and one Big 12.
Tennessee?
It's not Tennessee. Nope.
Florida?
Not Florida. Nope. This SEC, they have two for each sport. The most recent are both pretty recent.
South Carolina? No.
Yeah. There hasn't been an Alabama basketball player.
Auburn?
Nope. And nope.
Purdue, one of them?
Purdue is not one of them.
Glenn Robinson, baby. All right,
That's not the issue. It's the other side.
Yeah.
Drew Brees. You got
Drew Brees.
But he was a
Jim
second round
I was
pick.
going to say, he won the number one.
Yeah,
He won the first round.
Gary Danielson. Come on now. Let's see. Well,
You guys should get the SEC one. I mean, we are the Cincy sports team, for crying out loud.
LSU, duh.
LSU, yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, duh.
Shaq.
and Burrow.
Shaq and Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that's right.
Joe Burrow and Jamarcus Russell. So, yep, you've got two Big 10 and the Big 12.
Penn State. I don't think.
Not Penn State.
Michigan.
I would not
Michigan
get
State.
Michigan State. There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
God, I should have known that one.
Yeah.
Magic, and then I don't even remember who the NFL guy was. He was 1967. I think it's like Bubba something.
Bubba's.
Yeah. Yep. I think that was it.
Bubba Smith. That's Police Academy.
Yeah. Tastes great. Let's feel him.
I actually didn't know he
All
went
right,
to Michigan State.
Yeah. Is there?
I'll tell you. Well, you got two left: Big 10 and a Big 12. Both of these schools used to be in the same conference together.
So it's probably Pac-12 refugees then. So who would have?
Oregon?
Not Oregon.
Washington. It has to be Washington.
Washington. Yep.
Who was their NBA?
Markel Fultz.
Oh, God. That's
Okay,
right.
yeah, I would not remember
Let
that.
me shoot some free throws.
You've got one, and I'll give you a hint. Both of these guys, only school, same year, same calendar year.
This is SE
This is Big 12.
This is Big 12.
Big 12 because we didn't guess. Okay, Washington was Big 10. So it's still a Big 12 refugee.
Yeah.
Okay, Arizona.
It's not Arizona.
I don't know
Nope.
who their NFL guy would have been. BYU. They wouldn't have a basketball guy, probably. Danny Ainge.
Jimmer. Yeah.
Jimmer was the first rounder.
Yeah. He was, but not the number one pick. Big 12. Colorado.
Colorado. Nope.
Is that maybe? Wow.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
only school were both in the same year, and it's their only two number one overall picks.
Oklahoma State.
Not Oklahoma State.
Baylor.
Nope. Not Baylor.
No.
Now we're just like naming
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
12
you're just
schools.
going through the list.
Yeah.
A&M.
Well, they're not Big 12.
Oh yeah, not Big 12 anymore.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Oklahoma State.
I just said that.
Probably just said Oklahoma State.
Kansas. I mean, I don't know who their
Kansas
NFL guy
State.
would be. Yeah, I mean Kansas State.
Yeah. I'll just start naming UC.
West
Kenny
Virginia.
Martin.
It is not
West
UC.
Virginia.
It's not West Virginia. No, you're too far east. You guys got to go back west.
Arizona's
Go back
Arizona.
west. That's too
Utah.
far west. There you go, Utah.
Oh yeah.
Alex Smith and Andrew Bogut.
Yeah. I forgot about Alex
There
Smith.
you go.
Well, I
There you
forgot
go.
about
You guys
Andrew
got it.
Bogut for sure.
Yeah.
When I think of Utah
All right.
basketball, I think of Keith Van Horn. I don't think of Andrew Bogut.
Keith
I wouldn't even know. I didn't even know he went to Utah. I don't even remember that.
Rick Majerus. Yeah. All right, that was a good one. All right. So now we're going to move on to our topic of the week. And if you've been a fan of the show, you've heard us do some of these drafts of the Reds. We had the greatest lineup we could come up with. We had the obscure Reds lineup that nobody has heard of. So we thought we would, continue that with a little fun exercise of just average Joes, right? Just the regular everyday guys that might be the glue guys and stuff. And we already know, who Sam's taken number one overall. So.
I made sure to not put him on my list. So
Yeah. I just want to do like a random, draft generator, and he goes third, and we all pick Ryan Friel first. So
I still won't. So
yeah,
he wouldn't be the first Ryan I would pick.
So let's
You guys are, I mean, pure haters. I don't understand it. This is before you guys could hate on the Ryan Friel takes all you want. This is made for Ryan Friel. This is Ryan Friel all day. Give me 9 Ryan Friels and I win this draft.
Pure average.
Yes.
I don't know if it's maybe below average. I don't know.
He has a positive career WAR, so I mean, well, I guess that's replacement. I guess that's not the
That's right. That is.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead. Sam, why don't you go ahead?
All right, well, we'll go.
You're gonna let him go first. I mean, you might as well. I wouldn't take
Ryan Friel, and he's gonna be my second baseman.
Your second baseman. Friel played second base? When?
Yeah, he was second baseman.
Did he play every position except for catcher?
I mean, yeah, he played every position.
All right. So Ryan Friel is your second baseman. Do we want to continue with second base, or Crawley, do you want to go?
We can. I mean, if you want to do it that way, I don't know.
I don't care. I mean, it's a snake draft, so that's why.
Most of these dudes are utility guys anyways, probably, if we're being honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, depends. I got some starters, some glue guys.
Well, what do you want to do?
I mean,
I don't care. Do we want to go second base? Yeah. Why don't we all finish that? That way, it's a little easier to keep track of what everybody still needs and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
so I'm going second base then.
So you're going second base. Yeah.
Oh God, I have some choices then.
Yeah, you sure do.
I think this guy, at least on my list, unless I'm forgetting someone, I could be. No, I probably am. There's probably one other guy on my list. But I'm going with this guy. He's in the freaking Reds Hall of Fame. Ron Oster.
Yep, I had him on my list. So that leaves me down to I got
Ryan Friel not making the Reds Hall of Fame. So just letting you know that.
He should.
So I'm down to 2 because I had Oster as my number 1 pick there. But do I want to go with another Cincinnati boy that played a couple of years for me?
I know you're talking about. I had him too.
Or do I want to go with more athleticism? I think I'm going to go with more athleticism. I'm going to take Pokey.
Yeah, I had Pokey.
Pokey Reese.
Pokey, that's, yeah.
Yeah, and I had Billy Dorn as my other one. So, all right, Crawley, where are we going?
I'm going to go. I was a little surprised this guy didn't make an all-star team, but he didn't, so I'm going with him. Cesar Geronimo is my center fielder.
That's who I had, the Chief.
I guess he just didn't hit well enough.
No, well.
And he was overshadowed by the 8 other guys on the teams.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, we can't just put the Reds out there. We gotta have at least one person to play. You know, Lou Brock can play center field or something like that.
He was the other one that maybe I don't know if he's in the Reds Hall of Fame or not. Cesar Geronimo.
I think he is.
Did the whole grade 8 go in?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Center field.
So this comes all right.
And to be honest, I don't care about outfield positions. I know you always want us to do outfield positions.
Right. Yeah.
So if you pick another outfielder, because a center fielder could play any position in the outfield. So if you want to pick someone that's not technically a center fielder, I don't really care.
Right. I got you. But I'm going to go with a switch hitting guy. We got him. I think he was only here for 1 or 2 years, but he had really productive years when he was here. So I'm going to go with Dave Collins.
He's a center fielder?
He's a center fielder,
okay.
Yeah. He's
I didn't have him on my list. So.
Yeah, Dave Collins.
I'll tell you guys, most of mine are actually all of mine are essentially 2003 onward. I was trying to think of guys that I personally remember. I wasn't trying to go back and look. You know, some of the, especially.
Well, that's good. It means you have a lot of guys that are not on my list because I did not look much past. Actually, look for decent average guys.
Yeah. You know, I'm sticking to what I could think of off the top of my head, and then I went and looked to make sure, this guy wasn't actually trash. A lot of them were.
yeah, from 2003 on, yeah, we're in trouble.
My center fielder. I'm gonna have to make an argument probably for him. I'm taking Drew Stubbs.
I had him on there.
He was miscast. He was miscast as a leadoff guy. I think if he'd have hit 7th or 8th, we'd think of him a little more fondly.
Yeah,
but, Dusty Baker had to have the speed up top.
Yeah, I had him on my list.
I had him on my list too. I like Drew Stubbs coming out of Texas. I think he might have been. I don't know if he was
he was their first round pick.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the Golden Spikes player of the year in college, but he was.
He had a good couple
really
years.
Good in college. Yeah. All right. So it's my turn now. So I'm going to go. Boy, let's see here. I'm going to go. Let's go first base. I'm going to go first base. And I am going to take Dan Dreesen.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Well,
Yeah.
Yes. I had a couple.
He was Geronimo and him were my two that was going to jump on one of those two.
Yeah. So, since you took the Chief,
Yeah.
I'm going with Dan Dreesen, which surprised me that he wasn't an all-star somewhere along the line, but he had a couple of really nice years for the Reds. All right, Sam.
I'm going to go with Mr. Moneyball, Scott Hatterberg.
Scott Hatterberg.
Was he an all-star?
He never made an all-star.
Not even with Oakland?
No, not with Oakland. No,
Okay.
I looked. I checked.
Scott Hattie.
He had like a 6-WAR season, and he wasn't an all-star because that was Miguel Tejada, Eric Chavez. Like they had Giambi. They had a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
He didn't get it.
All right, Crawley, who are you going with?
So this is first base, right?
First base. Yep.
Okay. And I can't go with Joey Votto?
You cannot go with Joey Votto. Sorry.
Okay, just checking.
We're not going with batting average. We're going with just average play. Now, some people may say he was just average, but
yeah, I'm gonna go.
Average doesn't get you borderline Hall of Fame.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna go with my pal Hal Morris.
Hal Morris. I had Hal. That's who I was debating between Hal and Danny Dreesen. So I was like, so yeah. All right. So I'm coming back around. Let's just go.
Clark.
I'm gonna go third base.
We're snaking it.
I thought we were.
Okay.
Well,
that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Well, let's not since we're everybody is picking the same. I think
everybody's getting the first pick in a position, then we probably shouldn't snake it then.
So all right, Sam.
Okay.
Where do we go?
All right. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? I am going to go starting pitcher.
Okay.
I'm going to take Aaron Harang.
Aaron
Harang.
Oh, I would have thought I didn't even look at him. I thought he made an all-star team.
He did not. Nope. He finished 4th in Cy Young and didn't make the all-star team.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I'll be honest. That's a good pick because I didn't even pull him up because I figured he had made an all-star team. Okay, so we're starting pitcher then.
Starting pitcher.
I'm gonna get.
No, you cannot have Soto because not because.
Dang it.
It's not average team.
Soto and Rio are my first two choices.
Yeah. No,
okay, I'm gonna dip in the past a little bit. I'm gonna go Don Gallet.
Ooh, Donnie Gallet. Well, that leaves me a whole bunch.
Well, yeah, we're only taking 3 guys.
Right, I know, but which way do I want to go? I think I'm going to go Mike Leake.
That's a good one.
I think
I didn't have him on my list.
I had. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about who we left off. Okay. All right. Carly, where do you want to go? So we have short, third.
Right. I mean, we have most everything. So a lot of things.
Yeah. Relief pitcher and the manager. You want to take up the manager real quick?
I don't even know. I have no idea.
We're doing a manager?
I mean,
how do we judge that one?
Every manager has been average. Sparky.
I'll go catcher, and I'm gonna go with Joe Oliver.
That's who I thought you were gonna go with. Okay. Since you went with Joe Oliver, I'm taking Eddie Taubensee.
I had him too. Yeah.
All right, Sam. That leaves you with.
Yeah, based off of my criteria, there's not a whole lot to choose from here. I'm gonna just go with the guy that was around the longest on my list. That's Ryan Hannigan.
Right. Yeah, he's the Ryan I thought of that would have picked it before Ryan Friel.
I thought Sam you would go with Tucker Barnhart.
I thought about him, but
I even thought about Tyler Stevenson going with him.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
I didn't do any active guys. I tried to stay away with guys currently on the team.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go third base, and I'm going to take Willie Green.
The 5-tool player who couldn't play, and none of his tools worked. They all need to be recharged or replaced. That was one of what's the GM back then,
Bowden.
Jim Bowden. He loved Willie Green. That was one of his favorites.
I thought it was Willie Mo Pena.
Well, he liked him too, but he loved Willie Green.
Willie
Green was the 5-tool guy that he always talked.
Yep.
So you're okay.
That's who I'm
So
going
third
with.
base.
The
Okay,
5-tool guy,
Willie
third
Green.
base, Willie
Okay,
Green.
I did not have him on my list. Yep, for
Yes,
third
it
base.
is.
All right, I'm going to take Todd Frazier.
He made an All-Star team.
Yep, he made an All-Star team. So
When did he make an All-Star team?
Yeah, I did look him up. I know he made an All-Star
Did
team.
you? I could have swore I didn't see him make an All-Star team.
He made an All-Star team. Let me pull up Baseball Reference real quick.
He was. I got it right here.
Okay.
Maybe he made 2 All-Star teams, 14 and 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was looking at that. Okay, well then never mind. We will go with Kyle Farmer.
Kyle Farmer. All right. He was my shortstop.
That's a bummer.
Yep.
Okay. Third base, right?
Third base.
Okay. I'm gonna go Dimitri Young, the meat hook.
Pretty young. I thought he was an All-Star.
I don't think so. Was he for another team?
Dimitri
Yeah.
Young. Let's see.
Maybe he
I
was.
thought he was. Let me see. Yeah, he pulled it up. Detroit
Oh God,
in 2003.
Detroit.
And the Washington Nationals.
Oh, okay. You're right.
2007.
I just pulled it up too. Okay, I guess I just didn't mark. Okay, so Dimitri Young's off the list. Okay, let me go.
Yeah, because I would have had him as my left fielder. So the meat hook.
Gee,
Okay.
6'2", 295.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The meat hook.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go Lenny Harris.
Lenny Harris. Nice.
It's Geno Atkins playing third base. Holy cow.
All right, Lenny Harris. That's a good pick. He was good. All right, shortstops. Oh, no. I mean, it's not my turn. Sorry, Sam. It's up to you.
Yeah, okay. Go anywhere. I am going to go. Actually, what? Just double check this guy. Because I didn't even bother to look him up, but now you guys have me second guessing myself here. All right, we're good here. I'm going to go Austin Kearns, right field.
That's who I had too. So Sam. All right, Crowley.
My turn.
Yep.
Yeah, this guy was just listed as an outfielder, so I'm gonna say I'm putting him in right. And Billy Hatcher.
Billy Hatcher. Yep. He played all over. And he was my left fielder. Right field. And do I go way back? Actually, no. I'm taking the guy that helped the Reds in '90, beat the Pirates. Taking Glenn Braggs. The throw
And the break your bat over his helmet.
Yep.
That's what
Exactly.
he's known for that more than anything.
It was down to
He had to
Bragg
catch too.
was
He had to
shot
catch
covered.
over the wall. Took it
Right,
from the
that's
wall.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
all in the same series.
Nobody
Yeah.
took Aquino?
Oh, I forgot about Aquino.
Punisher? The Punisher?
He's not even average. This is average, not absolute below
Hey,
average.
those 17 home runs in a month
wonder.
was above average.
Yeah, in 1 month, but he's.
All right, Carly, where are we going?
What are we down to? We're down to left field.
Short.
Left field short.
Shortstop, relief pitcher, and our manager.
Okay. Left field. I'm gonna go left field then. Cal Daniels. I like that dude.
Yep, he could hit. He could hit. Flat out rake. Well, then I'm gonna have to take the other left fielder, Gary Reedus.
Yeah, that's what it was. Cal Daniels or Gary Reedus.
Yeah. All right, Sam, who you got for left?
Need a little power, so I'm going Johnny Gomes.
Johnny Gomes.
I think he was all-star.
I don't.
For Tampa
There's
Bay.
no way.
Tampa Bay.
Really? There's no way.
You don't think so?
I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna look him up. Johnny Gomes.
Let's
I'm
see.
looking on Baseball Reference.
Gomes.
Johnny Gomes was not an all-star.
He was not an all-star. I thought he was. I thought he had one really good year for Tampa
I mean,
Bay.
his highest WAR his entire career was 2.5 in 2005.
Yeah.
He had a good year. 21 home runs, 54 RBIs that year.
Yeah, need a little pop.
All right, so it's my turn. All right, I'm going to go relief pitcher. I want to get the guy I want. Need somebody, because of our starting pitching might not be able to go very many innings, and I need somebody who can go every day, 2 to 3 innings every day. I'm going to go with Mr. Rubber Arm himself, Pedro Barbone. Sam, relief pitcher.
I'm going to take a converted starter. The Reds turned into their closer. I'm going to take Raisel Iglesias.
He never made an all-star team?
Never made an all-star team. I just looked it up.
That was another one I thought of, but I didn't even look him up because I figured at some point he had. That's good.
Double check, but yeah, no All-Stars. He is. I'd say he's not an average player anymore, but at one point he was.
Is it my turn? Okay. We're talking reliever. Let me go. I got 2 guys on the board still. Who do I go with? I'll go with Raleigh Eastwick.
Eastwick, good pick.
Sam first,
High
I think.
roller.
On the line, we're down to just shortstop.
Shortstop and manager.
God, I don't even know who to put for manager.
I mean,
He was.
I was going to say, I could pull out my card for you.
Well, I mean, I don't even know. Like all-star team.
Yeah.
Well, manager cannot have managed in a World Series anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so to me that's average, or playoffs. I mean, not playoffs, World Series.
Man, this dude wasn't.
That's pretty much all the Reds managers.
That's a bummer. All right, well, I guess I'll go shortstop.
Okay.
I'm not going to do the manager thing. God, this was the toughest one for me. They've had I mean, the perfect guy somehow made an all-star team, so I can't take him. I will go with Paul Yanish. We'll go glove first.
Yep, Paul Yanish. Yep, I had him down on my list too.
I'm glad you didn't take the guy I'm taking because if you had taken him, I had nobody else. I would have been searching for somebody. So thankfully, I mean, this guy was not even average. I don't think he was below, but I'm going. He's only my shortstop on my list. Left, Jeff Keppinger.
I looked at him. He had like a negative WAR for the Reds.
Yep, Jeff Keppinger. I like Jeff Keppinger. All right.
Yeah, for the Reds, he was definitely not average.
Well, he's my weak link on my team. He's their 9th hitter. I got Lenny Harris for my DH.
So my shortstop, surprised nobody picked him. Jose Peraza.
It's on my list. I think he's kind of below average.
He is.
But hey, that or Kurt Stillwell was going to make the list. I mean, it was one of those 2 guys, man.
The perfect dude is Zach Cozart. I mean,
he made it.
But he somehow made an all-star team.
Yep.
So
he had 1 year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cozart would have been my guy too, but then I had Farmer as my.
Did Jose Iglesias make an all-star team?
He did. I looked it up. He did.
God.
He did.
With
Baltimore, right? Not
Baltimore. Yeah, I think it was Baltimore.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's real bad.
Yeah, because I thought about him too.
Yep. He's still playing.
All right.
And I was thinking Edgar Renteria, but he made plenty of
with the Marlins. He was good for the Marlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, Renteria. I mean, really, our shortstops.
Well, I had Rich Aurelio, but he made an all-star team too. So I mean,
Dale Cruz made an all-star team.
Yeah.
I mean,
all those 1-year rental dudes made all-star teams.
Did Cabrera make an all-star team?
Orlando?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
I think he did.
Let me see. No.
He did not?
He did
No,
not.
he would have been better than Jeff Keppinger.
Would have been, no. Yeah.
He would have been better than.
Better than Yanish. He would have been the best one.
He won 2 Gold Gloves and he finished 15th in the MVP voting in 2007.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Yep. We already made our picks. Okay. Manager now. We gotta find some average dude to.
Problem is, they're either awful or they were good. Yeah. Like Brian Price.
Yeah.
Is that who you're going with? All right.
I'm just like, who do you? David Bell. I mean, who you going with?
Yeah. There you go. You got Tinkerbell to tinker your lineup.
I mean, Ray Knight, Bob Boone. I mean, these guys are awful managers, like just bad managers.
David Bell would love a roster constructed like this. Guys would just rotate positions every inning. It'd be Little League out there. He'd love it.
He would.
This is his. He might get these guys to 90 wins.
No, that's not true. No.
Well, I don't know because you only have 2 pitchers, so he wouldn't be able to switch out all the time. Bringing somebody. All right. Crowley, who are you going with? Tinkerbell? You want me to put down Tinkerbell for you?
I don't want any of them. I mean,
who you want me to go? I got
one.
You got your guy, yeah.
Yeah, you can have the first pick.
I got 2. I'm going with John McNamara. What? It's average. He was right at 500, a little bit above 500.
I know he is actually. I'm looking at his stats. Yeah, a little.
Yeah, took over for Sparky.
Reds had the best record in
81.
Yeah, under him.
Yep.
Okay, well.
Yeah, that's who I went with. There's another one that I.
And what is that? What is they can never have won the World Series?
Managed in a World Series.
Okay, I got mine. I'm going next. I got mine. And now that I didn't even know we were doing man. I forgot to even know we were doing managers. I didn't even look at the list. But I got mine. Oh, I got my guy.
Who's that?
Peter Edward Rose is my manager. Yes, absolutely.
All right. There we go. Let's see here. He's got. Yeah, you could win some games with that, and he'll definitely win more at the horse racing. But yeah.
So there you go, nice. Pete Rose.
Pete Rose never had the opportunity to manage that team to the World Series. Because
all right, I think.
Good luck.
All right, I'm gonna go with. Just looking at his record, it's pretty close to 500. I'm going with Jerry Narron.
Aaron.
He his career record is 291 and 341 and one tie. He's got one tie. I don't know how you have a tie, but he's got a tie. So
you might want Johnny Narron as your bench coach. Wasn't he the dude that they brought in to be yeah, Josh Hamilton? Wasn't it Johnny? Wasn't that his name, Johnny Narron, the brother? It was a name like Jerry.
Was it Gary Narron?
Gary Narron. I think it was Johnny.
Johnny Narron. But yes. All right. Let's review.
God, the Reds have had bad managers. That may be their worst position of all time. Might be worse than any position on the field.
Because what they've had three actual good ones.
I mean,
third base has been pretty bad.
I mean, outside of Sparky, Lou, Jack McKeon,
Dusty.
Jack McKeon was a good manager.
Yeah, well, Davey Johnson was a good manager.
Okay, so 5.
But Dusty was a good manager.
Dusty was. He got him.
I mean, Fred Hutchins, or no, not yeah, it's a Fred Hutchins. Yeah,
his number's retired.
His number's retired. Made the World Series.
Yeah. Dave Bristol was the other one who I was gonna, because he got fired right before.
You could have gone with Tony Perez.
Tony Perez, Buddy Bell, Bob Boone, right? I mean,
Bob.
You know, there's
Tony Perez got fired 44 games in. Remember? And his record was 20-24. It wasn't like
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, the Rockies right now are 4-24.
Well, David Bell was 3-something, and he still made it. You know,
Tony Perez was 20-24, and he got fired.
Yeah.
Could have went with Ray Knight. He was 1-0.
Yeah. Ray Knight or Russ Nixon.
God.
Right? I mean, remember old Russ?
Well, Ray Knight overall was 137.
Yeah, he was slightly below 500.
Yeah. Okay, well.
All right, there's some good ones. All right, so let's review Crawley. You at first base. We're going to go around the horn. So he had Morris at first, Oster at second, Keppinger at shortstop, Lenny Harris at third.
That infield is my infield is terrible. I just realized how bad my infield is. I have a pinch hitter, Lenny Harris. I got Keppinger with his minus WAR. My pal Hal's good. And I got the only Reds Hall of Famer on this list, probably, Ron Oster.
Probably. I mean, then your outfield's pretty solid.
There you go.
Got Cal Daniels, Cesar Geronimo, Billy Hatcher.
Yeah, I have a good outfield.
Yep. Your catcher, solid, Joe Oliver. Good starting pitcher, and Don Gullett. Pretty good reliever in Raleigh Eastwick. And the manager to lead this bunch, Pete Rose. PD.
He's my pinch hitter, too.
He's your pinch hitter. Yeah, he could be your player manager.
That's right.
No, he can't because he's an all-star.
Right,
so sorry. All right, so Sam around the horn. He had Scott Hatteberg, Mr. Moneyball, at first base. Ryan Friel at second base. Paul Yanish at shortstop. God. Kyle Farmer at third base. Johnny Gomes, Mr. Pine Tar himself, in left field. Drew Stubbs in center. Austin Kearns in right. Ryan Hannigan behind the plate. Aaron Harang on the mound. Iglesias on our relief pitcher, and to lead this crew to 40 wins, Jerry Narron. And then I had Danny Dreesen at first base, Pokey Reese at second, Jose Peraza at short, Willie Green at third, Gary Reedus in left, Dave Collins in center, Glenn Braggs in right field, Eddie Toppensee behind the plate, Mike Leake on the mound, Pedro Barbone in relief. And then to lead that is John McNamara. All right. Before we get out of here with this, a couple of things. Who you have on your list that, you were debating who didn't make the cut as average, but could have been in there and helped you. If you're looking back at it, say, "Damn, maybe I should have had him."
My first guy I even thought of, and I didn't even use them, was Eddie Milner.
Yep, I had Eddie down as well for center field. That's who I was debating between.
So
I had all
one guy that we probably could have put him in there, Jose Guillen. He was never an all-star either. He had some pretty good years too. He had a lot of bad years. Like he never had like an average year. He's either good or bad.
Yep, I had third base. I had Joe Randa.
Opening.
Yeah, opening day Randa, and then Nick Asaski.
Oh God, Nick Asaski.
Yeah, Nick Asaski. He was the heir apparent. But yeah, and then Tucker Barnhart was probably the biggest omission from catcher. But we had 3 solid catchers there. Pitching wise, I mean, I had
a lot of starters, a lot of average starters the Reds have had.
Yeah. I
mean, Homer Bailey.
I had him. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I really considered Homer, Brett Tomko, and then Freddie Norman from the past. Right?
Yep.
Those.
I had Matt Latos.
Latos was good.
Yep. Yeah. More recent than that, I had DeSclafani. Thought he was pretty average, dude.
Yeah, he was average.
He was. Anthony.
I was surprised Homer Bailey how average he was. He never really had a great year. Not even one.
Wasn't he like 51 and 50?
Well, just even look at like his WAR numbers. I mean, he was. I think 1 point something was his best WAR. I don't know if he even had a 2 WAR year.
Yeah.
If he did, it was like one. It was one. Like 1, 2.
He had a 2.8 WAR in 2013. He was 11 and 12.
So when he threw the no-hitter,
and he got all his that big contract off that.
Yeah, 14. He was.
That's half of his career WAR. His career WAR is 6.2.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I didn't realize how average he really was. I thought he was better than that.
Yeah.
2012, he was 1.9. He led the league in games started with 33.
That's
33.
33. Yep. Let's see. So his record overall, 81 and 86.
A 4.5 ERA. Yep. I mean, that's as average as it gets.
That is about as average as it gets. You are correct. So there you have it for the draft. We'll post this as well to our Instagram and Twitter feed so you all can see and come up with a lineup that you think can take ours down with average Reds players. Before we go, we do have a special announcement. Crawley, you want to make the announcement?
I didn't know I was making a special announcement. I'll probably be here every once in a while, just not. Yeah.
But go ahead and make the announcement.
Yeah. As a weekly host or whatever you want to call me, contributor or whatever, I'm gonna kind of step back a little bit. Just a million things going on in life, and just looking at spend some time in some other places. I actually just bought a house yesterday. So I'm adding that to my list of things I got to get going. So a Coleraine area, kind of not too far from Coleraine High School. So
nice.
So just a lot of things going on. Even 2 hours, even like even tonight doing this, I spent a decent amount of time doing the research part of this. So just been a great time. I'll show up sometimes, but as a weekly co-host, I'm going to back away from it. So, but been good.
Well, we appreciate
going all the way back from the high school when we used to do high school.
Yeah, I know we did high school episodes 1 through 10, whatever it was, man. But after 129 episodes, it's sad to see you go as a weekly contributor. But he will be a special guest here and there when we have some.
Yeah, when the Reds win the World Series,
absolutely,
he'll pop on.
He'll pop on there. But we might put a montage of Crawley's rants out there for you all to listen to or watch. Once, if I can get the producer to actually do that for me. If not, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make.
Here we go. Just for old time's sake. I found episode 1, my notes.
Yeah.
The trivia question was: what 4 players have collected 700 career extra base hits while playing for the Reds? 4 players have collected 700 career extra base hits.
Rose.
Nope. Oh yeah. Votto, Rose, Bench. Yeah, there's one more.
Nope. Frank Robinson.
Nope. Goodness, my eyes water. Yeah, not Frank Robinson. I mean, a big name. This is obviously going to be a big name.
Right. Morgan. No.
Just with the Reds. Who? Nope.
7.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was number 4. Rose, Bench, Votto, Larkin.
That was probably a scoreboard
It
stuff.
probably was.
Yeah, we got a lot of those at times.
That was episode 1's trivia question.
Nice. All right. Well, stick around. Sam and I are going to continue, obviously. And our next week's show, we are going to do the best non-Big Four sporting events. So we're just going to come up with some lists of what we think are the best non-4 big sporting events. So take away baseball, basketball, football, and
I can already guess Sam's number 1 because it'd be my number 1.
So, yep. So we'll check in there, and then we'll check back with Crawley periodically. And I'll see you tomorrow at work.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
Almost May.
Almost May. Come on, get here. Can't get here soon enough. Sorry for being a little longer than normal. We'll probably edit it down just so that we have the segments separate. And then, like I said, if you have any final parting words for the fans that we have out there, Crawley, before we take off?
For our Minnesotan and Iranian listeners, I appreciate
exactly.
that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
I appreciate all the listeners out there and things, and we'll see if the Reds can, or not just the Reds, but some Cincinnati sport will win a championship in Sam's lifetime. So,
That'd be awesome.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Until the next time, for Dave, I'm Dave. For Sam, and for Charlie, everybody,
take care.
Yep.